Now on to today's topic, credit. If you need a new credit card, there are many options out there that can be found in mailings, on the web, at your local bank office. It's a question of reading the fine print, though, and weighing all the options before applying. Joining us now for more on finding credit options is Scott Bilker, founder of DebtSmart.com. He also wrote Talk Your Way Out of Credit Card Debt. Scott, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Gerri. It's great to be here.
Well, let's just get started by talking about some of the options you get in the mailbox, etc. Do I analyze all those letters I get in the mail, or where do I look for offers?
The best place to look for offers really is in your mailbox. I mean, you get a lot of great offers for new credit there, but the best offers actually come on your accounts that you already have, the credit cards that you have that are existing. Usually when those balances go to zero, credit card banks send you new offers for low rates for short periods of time at least, sometimes fixed rates for an indefinite period.
Well, okay, so I have to close the old account. Should I do that quickly? How do I go about doing that?
You don't have to close your old accounts. I wouldn't want to be hasty in closing old accounts because when those become a zero balance, the banks will send you good offers. So if you close some credit accounts, you're going to close some credit options. You want to keep those things available.
And let's talk very quickly about analyzing those credit options out there. You get a million letters, it seems like, every week offering you yet another credit card. I'm looking for how much they're going to charge me in terms of the APR, what the fees might be. Tell me a little bit about how to evaluate those offers.
Okay, the first and most important thing is the APR. But the next thing you need to consider is the cash advance fee. Sometimes that's going to be an open-ended amount, like 4% of however much you cash advance. Sometimes they have a ceiling on it, like $50 maximum. But if they have an open fee policy, say 4% for a 6-month deal, that would be 8% APR because there's 2 6-month periods in a year. And you'd have to add that to the rate they're giving you to really make a fair comparison between that and other credit options.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about organization. I know you're all about that. So handling bills, you know, everybody just throws it on their kitchen table. They pile up. Sometimes you forget some of them. What's a better way to handle the organization of your bills?
Well, being financially organized is the very first step you need to take when you're handling your bills. So whenever you bring in your mail, you need to open up every piece, look through it, and put the ones that you need to take action on in a file for like bills unpaid. Then you need to make sure you review all your credit card statements and look through them to make sure that you actually made the purchases that are there.
I think paying online is always a great idea. Some people are a little intimidated. Do you think it's a good idea?
Paying online I think is a good idea, but to pay online effectively, you really should pay directly with the creditor themselves instead of going through a third party, because then you know when the amount is debited from your account that you actually made the payment. If you did it through a third party, it might be unclear as to whether you actually paid.
All right, let's talk debt management here. I guess you're going to tell me no late payments whatsoever.
Yes, being late is the worst sin you can make when it comes to handling your bills and your credit cards. If you're late, you're going to pay late fees and penalty rates that could be as high as 29.9%.
Oh, 29. Oh, that's terrible. That's appalling. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about how to make that happen. How do you pay your bills on time? It's so easy to let it slip from your to-do list. You say organize them in a folder, but are there other things I need to think about?
Yeah, you should always track all your bills on a list so you know how much you owe, what the rate is, when it's due, and you should mark your calendar for all of these debts. And then every time you pay your bills, which should be at least once every 2 weeks, you should sit down, review all your bills, review all your credit offers, take advantage of the credit offers that are going to be better than your current debts, and then pay all your bills. That would be the most effective strategy to handling them.
Now, you say that the best offers come through the mail, and they're often from the company that you already have a card from. But are there other places we should be thinking about as well? Sure,
you can research new credit offers online.
Where do I go? Bank websites? What do I do?
I would go directly to the bank sites themselves, MBNA, Citibank, see what they have to offer, Bank One, or you could go to bankrate.com. It's another place that has a lot of bank cards to compare. CardWeb
does a lot of good comparisons for consumers as well.
Yes, they do, but you have to be careful of email offers because some of those could be scams.
Oh, right, and very frightening. The phishing scams out there, we should warn people about because you can get your identity stolen if you respond to one of them.
Right.
Tell us about the phishing scams that you should watch out for.
Well, what happens typically with them is you'll get an email from someone else, and they say they're from your bank, and then you need to go back onto your account, log in, and change something like your email. But what it really is when you click on the link, you're going to someone else's website, and when you enter your information, you're giving them your username and password. And it's very tricky. They disguise those links where it might say Bank One or whatever in the link you see, but the underlying link that's invisible where you're going to go is heading to a completely different place online.
Okay, so that's not very good. interesting you say you should have as much credit as you have debt. Explain to me what you mean by that.
Yeah, that's my general rule. If you have, say, $5,000 worth of debt, you need $5,000 worth of open lines of credit if you want to effectively get banks to compete for your business. Because you need to be able to call up those zero balance banks and say, listen, I'll transfer my balance today, but you have to give me a better deal than I have now. If you keep that going and use that open line of credit just to reduce the cost of your debt, then you're going to be able to save a lot of money. You don't want to get that and then spend it.
Well, all good suggestions. Scott, thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Just ahead, will high gas prices drive some consumers to use their gas cards more?